my understanding over the years of involvement in mining is that mining is about people. Once it is not about people, it collapses. Whether it is workers, whether it is communities, but mining is about people. And then when we talk of mining as a sunrise or a sunset industry, we'll have to refer to its relation with people. It has always failed to relate with people in a way that makes it a sunrise industry. And I use this term in the cabinet meeting. I'm a new minister. I've never been to cabinet. It's my first experience. One minister said to me, this thing of a sunrise industry is a myth of former mine workers. But I said to him, until you understand it properly, you will never realize that's a sunrise industry. It is a sunrise industry. South Africa was a strange nation. South Africans like destroying what they have with the hope of creating something new into the future. If we don't intervene in a way that makes mining a sunrise industry, it is not going to be a sunrise industry by wish. It's going to be a sunrise industry by us doing the right things. Platinum were very dominant, but the Volkswagen diesel scandal has killed demand for platinum. The new serious pressure points that we should deal with, which are squeezing mining. Two pressure points. The first pressure point is growing environmental demands. If mining is reckless about it, it's not going to survive, because it is the responsibility of mining to mine responsibly. I have a description for mining. I say it is dirty, dangerous, difficult, and diseased. That's mining. And if the industry itself internalize that and put measures in place to deal with that reality, if it does not, it's going to be in trouble. The second one, growing demand from communities. When I came to the sector some 10 months ago, the first thing I did was to visit all major mining areas, all of them. You can think of any major mining areas. I have been there as a Minister of Mineral Resources to reconnect with those communities. One of the things that came through was that, listen, mining companies don't talk to us. And I came back, I went to the Mineral Council, I said to them, you are not talking to communities. You are not going to survive the pressure of communities. You are going to be disrupted all the time. And I went to the department. I said to the department is not talking enough to communities. And if it is not talking enough to communities, we're going to have big pressure. And I said to them, you know, consultation is very important for mining. I gave them an example. I said, this shaft that is run by Goldfields called South Tip was opened by a Canadian company called Dome. You know what put pressure for Dome to be absorbed by others? It was when it destroys orchards in Latin America. Then there was a global campaign against it. It had to be absorbed by another company and disappear because its relationship with communities was terrible. And I said to the government, you have a responsibility to ensure that your relationship with communities is healthy and beneficial to communities. We're in the middle of that. Then there was the Constitutional judgment on the Northwest, which I agreed with in terms of consultation that is comprehensive. I agreed with that. So leave that one. Then came the Xolobeni judgment, which I'm going to appeal for only one reason. The body of the judgment I love. Only part I'm going to appeal there are two. One is taking the right to issue licenses from government to communities. If we do that, there's going to be chaos. I will tell you why before I sit down. The second one that I'm going to appeal is subjugating the MPLA to other legislations. And that is the aspect that I want to, if need be, we take it up to the Constitutional Court so that there is a proper decision on that matter. Because when it is said you must get full consent of communities, and it gives you a formula of checking individual households, it means the state has no authority to issue licenses. It is communities that must issue licenses. If we agree to that, it's going to be chaos. Let me tell you why I say it's going to be chaos. The chaos is going to come in those communities themselves. As we go around, one of the things I do, I manage by walking around in the industry. I don't lock myself up. I go to Xolobeni, I go to Tendela, I go to Saga, I go everywhere. Physically, spend time. Some instances get insulted, get shouted, and I enjoy that. I just enjoy it. Now, one of the things that is emerging is that every time there is a mine developing, the first fight is between the traditional leaders and their communities. Who should be in charge? And that fight becomes ugly, to a point of almost saying there's no traditional leader here, it's us, people who are here. That's the first fight. The second fight is people who come as representative of communities, committees, come in and structure trust for communities in a way that benefits them individually and not the communities. If we don't deal with that issue, we may think that community as a term and think that's a good term, but if I'm in the committee and I take the benefits away from the communities to me as a member of the committee, I create a crisis. Those are the kind of crises that we're dealing with. In the charter, where we talked about carried interest to workers, for communities who said carried interest or equivalent benefits. You know why we wrote it that way? It's because we have not found a formula that will ensure, if the ideas will invite them, a formula that will ensure that those benefits accrue to communities in a way that is sustainable. And that is where we are, and that's why we wrote that thing that way. And our invitation to everybody is that throw the ideas, let's hear them, and structure those benefits to go to those communities. Now, let me sit down by emphasizing that until we address these people that affect people directly, the future of the industry will be a sunset. If we do address it, you're right, Comrade Joel, technically and technologically, there's no problem. There's no technology that survives without things that are mined or grown. Doesn't matter what technology, if it's a technology, you modernize it, but you lose elements of that technology will be mined or grown. That's my story about mining. It's an industry I love, it's an industry I have passion about. It's an industry that I was involved in. Sometimes when I deal with some of the people who talk about mining, you can hear that they talk from paper. I stayed in a single sex hostel for 13 years of my life as a person, so I don't research the life of a mine worker. I understand. Okay. And I understand the relationship of mines and communities. And I can tell you all other stories about them, and because I've been there myself. I organize mine workers. I know them. I know how they think. And when the unions become weaker, as I suspect is the situation now, chaos, my view is to be sunset or sunrise will depend on how the industry relates and deals with people issues. Thank you.
I haven't come to point any fingers. I'm John Clark. I'm the social worker that's worked with Xolobeni for the last 12 years. And you've answered the question I was going to ask you, which was about why you were appealing the decision, and thank you for that. All I would want to say is that having been involved with the community in that particular mining company, I think that your motives, people are going to question them. They're going to say that there's some other agenda, because that mining company has not exactly acquitted themselves very well. I stand here as one of 8 people that have been sued by them with defamation slap suits. And so I think that it's very important that we settle that matter. It's not an MPRDA matter, it's a criminal law matter. And I have spoken to you about that before, because that's contaminating us. And the only question I really want to ask you is, in fact, to issue an invitation from the community at Lutzville on the west coast, who have asked me to please ask you to come and visit the Tormen mine and to see what the same mining company has done over the last 5 years as to why they are so confused and dismayed that you are supporting the Xolobeni mining rights application.
There is still a huge disconnect between the paradigm of who benefits and who doesn't. In the mining vision, for example, is also very much a investment-centered, extractive approach. So what we're finding is that there's a disconnect between what our government is saying in terms of people, benefits, social compact, social cohesion, all of these things, and the reality where mining affected communities are experiencing, both in terms of environmental impacts and in terms of socioeconomic impacts. And what we're finding is that the structural elements are quite violent, not only in the way that it extracts the minerals, but also in the experiences that people have. You know, it's like when we approach this, our paradigm is one that it's very much linked to old colonial systems of power and how those things are imagined. So unless we change the way that we think about governance at a local level and at the national level, and the Xolobeni issue is very critical in that, because it speaks to the fact that government wants to maintain control, but it doesn't want to share. And the only way that you can really affect the social cohesion is if you include people. Now that's been admitted in many, many conversations here today. But the practical reality is we haven't yet cottoned onto the fact that we actually got to make that work. We can't just talk about it in seminars.
Thank you. Minister Mantashe.
Yeah, Xolobeni. I've been in the ministry for 10 months now. Xolobeni has been on the table since 2002. But if you listen to people talking today, Xolobeni is synonymous as Gwede Mantashe, which is a credit to me. I jumped into the problem and tried to deal with it. That's it. Now, let me explain this. There is nobody who has a mining license for Xolobeni. I think factually, let's internalize that. Nobody has been given a license for Xolobeni. There is a company that applied for exploration. It was given. Even that exploration license is in suspension now because of the moratorium. Mining license will be given further down the line, because exploration is just reaffirming if there is a deposit. That's all. So this notion of a company that has been given a license in Xolobeni is not factual. It's a myth that has been developed in a narrative. Secondly, why do I support the mining company in Xolobeni? I'm the Minister of Mineral Resources. If I must give you the definition of my job, is to look after exploration and extraction. Once it goes beyond that, it gets out of my control. If it's beneficial, it goes to DTI. If it gets into a conveyor belt from a coal mine to a power station, it gets into energy. That's how it works. So my responsibility is about exploration and extraction. I love this job. I must also explain that. So you cannot expect me to go around motivating stopping mining. If you expect me to say there must be no mining, then the buffalo must fire me 12 midnight. You must fire me 12 midnight. My job is to go and explain issues. Actually, I have met John Clark several times, and I've thrown a challenge to them. The third time, when I was going to meet them for the third time, they ran for cover. I've met them twice. I went to meet them for the third time, they ran for cover. Because I said to them, let's discuss the developmental framework for that area. It's a very poor ward of Pisana. 25, very poor. And I said, let's discuss the developmental options. And we'll not discuss those excluding mining. We'll say there's a mineral here, there's a need for tourism, there's a need for, let's discuss the framework. First time, when they tried to disrupt the meeting, unsuccessfully. Second time, I said their committee must come and have a discussion with me. What they did, they said they have no mandate, let's go to the community. Third time, when we set a meeting for the community, they say short notice, don't come. Now that is obstruction and filibustering. When you filibuster, you are hoping to stay away and get different results. And my approach is, we'll engage the community in Xolobeni. The court order, which I'm appealing, has given us a framework that we'll use now. That we must get the views of the people of Xolobeni down to household level. We're going to conduct a survey there so that we get people saying yes or no. Not the loudest determining the future for everybody. We can't allow that. And we're going to work with John Clark in doing that. And their team. We're going to work with them. Because they must be part of finding solution, not obstruct efforts to find solution. Now, so I'm leaving Xolobeni. So I'm not supporting a mining right in Xolobeni. I am saying there is a mineral in Xolobeni. Can it be extracted? That's where my brief ends. And many accuse me that you're interested and so forth. I'm not interested. Many of the people I give licenses to have no shares there. But I give them licenses because it is for the development of the country.
He hosts the Intergovernmental Forum on Mining, Minerals, Metals and Sustainable Development, where governments meet and share the problems that they face in the mining industry. I've been involved in a remarkable initiative since 2016 in South Africa. It's between Anglo, Isaro, CSIR, World Vision, and other partners. And you've just mentioned that you're looking for innovative ideas to address the community needs. This is a massive partnership with government. They've been collaborating with local municipalities, with premier's offices, with DST. However, do you know which partner has not come to the party? It's the DMR. And we don't know why. Because maybe you just pointed or you touched on it, that you are only interested in exploration and extraction and not interested in the social environment. We do want you there. We need you there. It's similar to the Northern Cape platform, but we've been busy for 3 years. We have not seen DMR and we have not reached you. So I'm inviting DMR to become part of this conversation. It's a huge initiative.
Thank you, Joel, for inviting me here to get an invitation to go and participate.
You're welcome.
Now, let me explain what is the problem. You know, DMR has been going through a difficult period for some time. It is the second highest turnover of ministers in government. Second only to finance. Half the time I'm answering questions that emanate from a relationship that an institution had with the DMR before I came. But I accept that the result of the matter is that everybody wanted to have a pound of flesh of the DMR. You know, you go into government to find that there are distressed mining communities. And you walk in there, it's not communicated by DMR. DMR is some low-lying department, but it's dealing with distressed mining communities. Now, that tells you the nature. So, it's not a question of the DMR was absent. I would imagine that nobody cared about DMR. That's my assumption. I would appeal that let's get invited properly. I can tell you we'll go. We engage many people now. And one of the things that we do in DMR today is to talk to as many people as possible. We don't only talk to major mining companies, we talk to emerging companies. We spend time, we talk to them, we listen to them, because we have redefined who we are. We've not just said we're just extraction and exploration. We've also defined that we are supposed to serve a number of people who are our clients. We said we're not the enemy of the mineral council, for example. We're not the enemy of mineral council. Before, mineral council and the DMR spent all the time in the courts on everything. Only judges could actually mitigate their communication. We are talking to one another now almost every day on everything candidly and openly. So we will not run away from anything that will impact on us. Just talk to us properly, understand who we are. Educating community is much more than just DMR. It's everybody. It's mining companies themselves. Explain that we're working here, this is what we're going to do. This is our commitment in terms of development in this area. Then there will be coexistence. And people, one person asked me a question in a talk show. Where did you see mining leading to development? And I had to take them back and said, you see, Johannesburg is a product of mining. That shocked. I say, if you see Rustenburg is the fastest growth point economically in the country with Bakerswood. They're neck to neck. All of them are in mining areas. Until we appreciate, but what we're failing to do, that's why we have ghost towns, derelict and ownerless mines, is because we don't look into alternative economic activities when there's a long life of mining. We try to do things quick at the end of mining life. Instead of using mining for development, further development, we deal with it as an enemy of society. We must use it as a basis for further development. That's my submission. And that is the debate I'm making. I'm having it. As I said, I declared my interest upfront. I love mining. I enjoy it. But let me share this, Roger, without offending. You know, I worked in the industry as a worker 13 years. 13 years. Staying in a single sex hostel. At the end of that, I was paid a pension of 216 rand 61 cents in recognition of 13 years of loyal service. Now, that talks to an industry that has developed, because only in the 1987 strike did we come up with an agreement to develop retirement funds for black workers. And it started in 1989. Before that, it was gratuity that we intended. So the industry is moving on. This debate is going to help us move further on.